With the Game of Zones finale coming out tomorrow, I thought it'd be a good chance to reflect on the show a little bit, show some appreciation, and also make some predictions for what I think will happen in the finale. So, before I get started, if you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate it if you either subscribe to the YouTube channel or subscribed on to the Splash Tag podcast, which you can find on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud. I'll put some links below. So right off the bat, I absolutely love this show. I remember I actually haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I am a big basketball fan, obviously. And so it's been really cool to see the evolution of the show since its days in 2014 when debut in 2014 where it showed Dwayne Wade, LeBron talk and Chris Bosh as a dragon interacting with Pat Riley. And the animation then was a little more primitive. I also remember in 2015 when Iman Shumpert was the support for LeBron's glass of wine. I remember that being something that gave me a lot of laughs, and it's really cool to see where the show has come to now. I personally have really enjoyed this season. The episodes have been a little bit longer, even though there aren't as many. I feel like the plot has been very coherent and has really involved a lot of things that really reflect the arguments that we have in in today's day and age with regards to, pace and space, efficiency, and modern basketball versus the 90s. But on top of that, I also wanted to just give a quick shout out. My favorite episode is actually the Oak and the Seventh Seed. That is the episode where Paul George gives a little pump up speech to the Pacers, and it's probably my favorite episode. I wish this show would go on, but at the end of the day, everything has to come to an end. I worry that if the show went on for another 5 years, the animation might go from this to this. I'm just kidding. That's a picture of the time I got to listen to Adam Silver speak in real life. Really cool experience. Anyhow, so we were last seen. The Dream Team was getting ready to fight the Guards of Tomorrow, which is the modern NBA team of superstars that was assembled to fight the Dream Team. Now, I don't know too much. I'd imagine that they may try to have some parallels between Game of Thrones and Game of Zones in terms of how it ends. I know that Game of Thrones had a little more of a controversial ending, so I can't speak with regards to how they may cause that parallel. But there is one prediction that I particularly feel strongly about. In the last episode, we saw that the media dell was attacked, and this by guys like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, and Melo, to name a few. So that leaves us wondering who survived. And to me, I have a couple candidates that I feel pretty strongly about with regards to them having survived. And these are all going to be members of the media. So right off the bat, you have to think that Dwayne Wade and Brian Windhorst survived the attack. This would make sense as they have been the two main characters with respect to the media in this season. And obviously, with Dwayne Wade's audition being the centerpiece of a couple episodes and Brian Windhorst kind of being his right hand man. Another group that I feel a little more strongly about that has not been floated as much out there are Mark Jackson, Jalen Rose, and Reggie Miller. And I think that these three are going to be important because they were all on the 1998 Pacers team that pushed the final Bulls title team to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. Ironically, all three of them were ended up being great players, with Reggie Miller actually being a Hall of Famer, but all three were great players who are now all working in the media, all of who have actually been seen in various episodes of Game of Zones. On top of that, I actually think that Doris Burke may have actually survived the attack on the media deal. And I think this may not have too many important plot points, but I think it may just be a quick shout out or nod from Bleacher Report to Doris Burke, not only because she's great, but also because she actually survived coronavirus, which is obviously the big elephant going on in the real world right now. I have one more small and subtle prediction that's unrelated to the actual outcome of the Dream Team versus the Knights of Tomorrow, and that is that I think that because they showed a captured Christian Leitner in a previous episode, I think that they're going to try to bring light to the fact that Christian Leitner made the team over Shaq. So whether that's Shaq finally getting his revenge, maybe beating Leitner in a game of one-on-one, or even potentially helping the dream team. That is a more subtle prediction that I have. I don't feel quite as strongly about it as I do the 1998 Pacers, but I guess we'll see. So like I said, I think that this season has been particularly meta in that it is showing us that the a lot of arguments in basketball are the old heads who are saying, "Oh, 90s basketball, the old school versus the people who are more pro analytics and modern basketball." I personally don't really know how that'll play out with regards to the battle. I wouldn't be surprised if they can kind of came out with some kind of more neutral or quote unquote cop out, less definitive answer. Wouldn't be surprised even if they went a little more meta and tried to relay the coronavirus situation with regards to how it stopped the season, something of that nature. But curious to see what happens tomorrow. And I'm definitely really sad that the show is ending, but I'll always be glad that there were so many funny moments and seasons of Game of Zones. So with that, that's about all I have. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, and I'll catch you soon. And pour one out for the Sun Kings.